Here are my 3 tips to make sure that you get the next promotion. So I've already said that doing your job well is not really enough in today's economy and society, especially in corporate America. Lead in the position that you are in. You might be thinking, well, Amanda, I don't have any reports. I don't manage any people. That doesn't matter. You can still lead in whatever position you're in. The way that I would recommend going about that is finding opportunities within the business that need some additional support and take it on as a project. I'll give you a quick example. In my career, I noticed a significant amount of returns for my product categories. I did some additional research and found out that our sizing scale was just not acceptable or appropriate, and I wanted to find a better way to communicate to our customers how things ran. So I started doing fit guides by asking our vendors to send us samples off of the production line. So what they would do is they would send me samples immediately, and I would go around the room with my colleagues and I would ask them to try on the products, and then I would say, what's your true size? What size is this? How does that work for your foot? Like, what do you think about this? At the time, I was a footwear buyer, so this makes sense in this example. I started off by just doing one of the styles so that we can have actual data to prove that there was an improvement. So this one item typically had a return rate about 40%. And then with the data, we added it into the copy. So when you went to go buy the item, it would say this item runs one size up. And as a result of just that one data point, returns dropped to less than 10%, which is a phenomenal rate of return for this particular item. And what I did was I took that data and I went to my management and I said, hey, I think there's an opportunity to drastically reduce our return rate on a lot of our items. I'd like to lead a project where we can do the same type of data points for our highly returned items, which will eventually save our organization money. I wasn't asking for their additional time. I wasn't asking for any resources. I just said, hey, here's a problem and here's the solution, and I would like to make it a project that I lead. Is that okay? You don't want to just come to your leaders by saying, hey, this is a problem and I don't have a solution for it. You want to identify the problem, identify the solution, and then ask to be the person that leads the solution for your whole team or organization or whatever that item might be. Identifying an issue, raising your hand with a solution, and offering to lead is going to set you apart from everybody else. A willingness and a desire to learn all aspects of the business is also going to help set you apart. A corporation can't function with all departments working in a silo, and there's benefit in knowledge. So for my example in sourcing, what I do is I like to understand, how does accounting pay my vendors' invoices? What flags an invoice as a potential issue? Same with receiving. How does the warehouse function? How do we receive these items? Marketing. How do you decide what items you want to promote? Can I influence what you are going to promote? How could we collaborate together? So what I would do is independently reach out to different departments and ask if I could just spend half a day or maybe set up a lunch and learn for some of my colleagues so that we could be better informed on what their role is and how we can better serve them. I will say that this is also a really great way to find a problem and find a solution and lead a team. It's something that I did at one of my companies, and I've done it at every company since, which is where I create lunch and learns with different departments and different leaders so that my procurement world can learn about all of these different functions and how we impact those functions. It allows me to create meetings and set up time with all of these leaders, but then also manage getting all of my department in and creating kind of internal networking opportunities for them. It gets my face in front of a lot of different people, and that is really important. Last, but certainly not least, is opportunities to sit in front of your leader's leader. You should absolutely already be engaged in development plans and conversations with your leader. And if your leader is not having those conversations with you, I really encourage you to create your own development plan. Even though you might feel like my manager should be doing this for me, the only person that cares about getting you promoted should be you. There have been times where I felt like my boss just didn't really care about my own growth. And so what I did was create my own development plan, and I would put it in front of them and kind of just self-guide them through kind of what things that I think that I should be working on, and not talking about the business, but about me as a person and a leader within the organization. Do not go do this on your own. Talk to your manager first, because I promise you, if you did this on your own, it's going to piss your manager off. But as a part of your development plan, ask if every quarter you can have a 1+1, where it is just your standard developmental touch base with your manager, but that you include that person's manager as a part of that conversation. So it's a one-on-one plus one. In these 1+1s, what you're doing is extending the opportunity for your boss's boss to give you feedback, but also see all of the work you're doing to develop into a future leader. I think a lot of times people just assume, oh, they'll come grab me and give me feedback. No, you need to be intentional and give them a platform to give that feedback. But also, pro tip, and maybe tip number 4 here, is you have to be ready to receive the feedback. If they give you an opportunity to improve on something, take that and work on it. Take it seriously, because this is what you need to be able to show that you want to grow and you take your growth seriously. And look, I understand that sometimes these types of things feel icky and sticky and gross, but it's the reality of the world that we live in. We don't get promoted for just doing a good job anymore. You have to play the game. I love this Rare Beauty mascara. It's so good.